Well, thank you very much for the invitation, participating on this really nice homage to Gaspar. Today, I intend to point out shortly what I think are the most serious challenges of the digital transformation, namely the social, political, and human challenge. So my talk will be very different, will not be technical. But I thought, among different possibilities, that that would be a nice tribute to pay to Gaspar. I think you'll see why. I will use paper technology to save time. And before I start, let me say a few words about Gaspar and our encounter, him and I. He was a most extraordinary person whom I greatly admired, and we came to establish a very close and solid friendship. I only met him when he was leading LIP while Mariano Gago was in his first term as minister. I was president of FCT at the time, and every now and then we had to handle common business related to LIP management and to the Portugal CERN program, in particular the training of young engineers at CERN that was already mentioned here. These meetings were sufficient to grasp the high qualities of the man. But the first real engaging encounter we had was when both of us were in Minister Gago delegation in a visit to the White House Office of Science and Technology in Washington. In spare time, we finally had opportunity of chatting about the important things of life, in between also very important conversations regarding science and technology. I was so impressed by him at the time that I remember asking Mariano Gago in one of private talk, where did you find this extraordinary guy? Well, much later, when I was president of the Knowledge and Society Agency, coordinating national ICT policy, and Gaspar was again leading LIP, while Gago was again Minister of Science, we worked and actually conspired together for the creation of the European Grid Initiative, trying to prevent its capture by only Central European countries, in which we, together with Spain and other allies, were partially successful. And for securing the financial and physical conditions for the effectiveness of the Portuguese Grid Initiative, and that worked rather well. It was at that time that I met the Spanish colleagues we have here today, both of them, and I'm very happy to have the opportunity of seeing them again here. We talked frequently about general politics and science and technology policy, and we found a surprisingly spontaneous agreement of concerns and views, even in the most controversial and sometimes uncomfortable, due to our relationships with other people, issues, what happens only to like-minded people. So I'm very grateful for having the opportunity of meeting this man and benefiting with the interaction with him. Well, there is much more to say about Gaspar, but let me use the little time left for trying to tell you what I think are the most important and difficult challenges of digital transformation. There is a tendency to look at it with a technology optimistic eye and to concentrate on the wide opportunities it opens, on measuring and marveling on its progress, and on fostering its adoption and possible economic benefits. But as it usually happens in major technological revolutions, the most important and difficult challenges are on how social, political, and lifestyle processes adjust to the deep changes brought by a powerful enabling technology. And as scientists, we should also be concerned with that. The admirable progress that happened in digital computer power and convenience, in mobile ever higher speed telecommunications, and in robotics, has indeed opened a wealth of opportunities unavailable just a few decades ago. The promises of large data set analytics, artificial intelligence, further cyber-physical applications and their convergence with applications in all realms of human intervention are staggering. The involved challenges are worth targets of attention of the most creative minds. In addition, national public policy must pay the highest attention to ensure the conditions for the flourishing of these areas at the frontiers of knowledge, as being just a follower is not an option if we are to secure better quality of life conditions for our citizens in a competitive environment. The awareness of the need of this driving of technology and knowledge by public policy is common, even if frequently the necessary well-crafted policies are not adopted and their urgency is overlooked. The development of these technologies in the benefit of citizens requires ambitious, well-crafted public measures, even if this is a very difficult task, but at a level much higher than what is being done almost everywhere. However, this is only one side of the coin. Passing to the other side of the coin, first, in economy, even the more powerful digital technology deployment, if untamed, this is, if not well regulated and taxed, especially when provided from abroad, drives unbalancedly higher concentration of capital in much fewer people and nations due to the monopolistic effects of networks and the global reach and scalability of the material digital technology. Revenues of capital and work drift further apart. Besides, digital systems replace routine workers in growing complexity tasks, so that good job opportunities require more and different education. Second, in society, increasingly knowledge is required to deal well with sophisticated digital applications and to understand the conditions of their use for personal and collective benefit, rendered even more difficult by the emergence of large data set analytics, artificial intelligence, and sophisticated cyber-physical applications of the time. This again drives increasing inequality and requires higher levels of general education. For example, much higher analytic capacity and critical thinking. It is not just digital literacy and skills as it is taught today. And it is absolutely essential that general education policy will answer the challenges of the digital transformation. Third, in politics, the representative democracy processes developed for the time of printed paper, one-to-many, asynchronous, mediated communication are breaking down, with the prevalence of the instantaneous and visually compelling TV communication and the ludic interactive social networks, with the associated phenomena of fake news that is familiar. And these news spread fast and are impossible to counter effectively with all who have received them. That's why they work. And the tendency to just follow, and also the tendency to just follow like-minded people in social networks, for example, opening an avenue, of course, to populist politicians. With the failure of traditional representative democracy, new political processes have to be developed for democracy to thrive on the digital society. Fourth, in persons. Smartphone-enabled digital communications and applications, if unchecked, captured such an high attention span of each person in superficial remote activities that quality time for deep thinking, for meaningful deliberation, for concentrated analysis and study becomes very scarce. We only need to watch actually digital-born millennials for a few hours and how they avidly use smartphones to grasp this. The catch is that precisely when you need more knowledge and more advanced education to deal well with digital technology, you are more distracted by that same technology and have less quality time to engage in deep personal learning. This requires a change in lifestyle to be enhanced by education, new engaging focuses of attention that have to be found and developed and nurtured, and new processes in schools and other organizations. These are far more important and difficult challenges than the purely technological ones. It is by answering them that the sustainability of open democratic societies with human quality of life, without which progress of science and technology are useless, will be decided. I think Gaspar would readily agree to this point of view. We urgently need that these challenges be addressed at least as effectively as the challenge of digital technology progress. We must quickly bring this objective to our agendas and to the public policy agenda. Thank you very much.